cabin at the far end of the meadow with its weathered gray fence post and the towering peaks of the Continental Divide, still shouldered with snowfields against a brilliant backdrop of Colorado. Mark Wetmore had discovered paradise. That day he forged a lifelong friendship with Magnolia, a rutted, lost in the mountains, off the beaten track, windy dirt road overrun with kamikaze drivers who lived in the woods and raced their 4x4s and Subarus within inches of anyone who ran there. But when the maniac drivers weren't around, Magnolia Road offered a quiet refuge, perfect for his long runs that allowed him to cover up to 20 miles. What was he training for? Nothing. He simply ran because he had to. Larry, Mark Wetmore's mentor from back home, reinforced his decision to stay in Boulder. It's October and it's still 70 degrees, Larry would tell him over the phone. You're a genius. What a move. 10 bookstores? I'm on my way. Don't move an inch. They have endo in the public library? Brilliant. Wetmore listened. He staked his tent at a campsite until he found a room to rent a week later. Boulder quickly became his adopted home, and greatness would soon follow. So this was the man who I had in my mind, that's where I wanted to go. That's where kind of the secret lay, way out west. As one quick aside, I have no idea who Endo is or was. Mark just told me that in a quote one day, and I thought, that sounds smart, I'll put it in. In contrast, Bob Brown came from a different place, a much simpler journey. And this one is called the station wagon with blue vinyl interior. Bob Brown's journey ended where it had begun, in Iowa. A die-hard Hawkeye fan, Bob had spent all but 2 of his 65 years within the Flatland state, best known for producing great corn and great wrestlers. In Iowa City, Bob lived with his wife, Darlene, who used to be his high school sweetheart, and their 4 children. He drove his widowed mother, Vivian, who lived close by, to pancake breakfast after Sunday Mass. Brown had never intended to become a running coach. A high school basketball player, he had started coaching to spend more time with his athletic children. In Iowa City, he had worked in the recreational therapy department at the University of Iowa Hospital, never deviating from the chosen path of mentoring young people. In the summer of 1987, Brown, then 45, returned to his alma mater, Iowa City Regina High School, and shared a simple idea with the school's athletic director, who was also his brother-in-law. "I'd like to start a cross-country team," Bob said. The AD stared at him blankly. "This is football country," he deadpanned. "I'm not sure you could even field a running team. In this school, the boys play football." Bob didn't give up. "The kids who don't play football need a sport during the fall," he persisted. "Please, let me try." The AD agreed to his proposal. A station wagon whose interior was covered in blue vinyl transported the inaugural team. 5 boys and 2 girls along with Coach Brown. Iowa City Regina, a small 1A Catholic high school with an enrollment of 250 students, had a cross-country team. Except the girls didn't even have the minimum of 4 athletes to complete a full squad. In their first meet, the boys' team finished last. But over the next 17 years, the team would grow from humble beginnings and establish its own traditions. Championships would be won, legends would be honored, and those kids who needed the sport to complete their lives would find a friend and mentor in the small-town coach who lived his life inspired by the simple motto, "Nothing but my best." And here I am the common link between both of these guys. This section is titled Run Fast. Both Mark Wetmore and Bob Brown were driven by a simple passion. They loved coaching runners. Every year they would bid goodbye to seniors and welcome incoming freshmen. While their teams changed, these 2 unique forces would remain constant, living the convictions they preached. I was the other factor common to both. The eager runner, I barreled down the fast lane, connecting and colliding with each coach along the way. Born and raised in Iowa City, I had driven the same 8-mile route to Regina, eaten the same cafeteria food, and followed the same shirt-tucked-in dress code all through my 12 years in Regina. A Regina lifer, as we were called. I had attended elementary, middle, and high school in one building, traveling through the grades with nearly the same 60 classmates. Our mascot was no lion, no tiger or other ferocious beast. It was a blue and yellow crown, creatively named Crowny. At the beginning of my senior year, I wanted nothing more than to leave Iowa and head to college, where I planned to pursue my dream, running fast. It sounded simple enough. Unfortunately, not a single college coach had recruited me. That complicated the matter so much. But it didn't deter me. When my alarm clock buzzed at 5:30 in the morning, I never peeked blearily at the darkness outside before going right back to sleep. I sprang out of bed and I ran, without fail. Our family of 6 lived in the country where the desolate roads offered a prime training ground. I claimed the role of the hunter and hardened myself to accept the prospect of toiling through the miles alone, targeting anyone who slept in later than I as a weak bit of prey. Coach Brown, the wizened veteran who had turned his homemade program into a source of envy for Iowa high school coaches, seemed like the perfect match for me. When I joined his team as a freshman, he guided me with the wisdom and patience of a father of 4, placing me on the 4-year plan to state championship success. Eager to win right away and often, I put myself on the 1-year plan. And that was only the beginning of our differences. Built sturdy and strong like a football player, Coach Brown would invite the entire team to stand with him at half court during our school pep assemblies. He spoke patiently, preferring not to talk about the team's state championship banners hanging above. Instead, he focused on his runners' work ethic and positive attitude. His quiet voice and unassuming tone had a certain power, capable of holding the entire student body's attention in the minutes prior to dismissal. Everyone on our team is important, he would declare with a grin, because without the people in the back, no one would be there to push the team forward. As a senior, I finally realized there was more to life than winning the Iowa State Championship. There were collegiate national championships, too. While Coach Brown contentedly drove our team bus to rural communities with multiple town names like Cleveland and Camana, I was hooked on Chris Lear's Running with the Buffaloes, a day-by-day account of the University of Colorado's 1998 cross-country season. At a college best known for skiing and partying, the Colorado runners fully invested themselves by, among other things, going to bed at 10 on Saturday nights. Their objective was to rest for their 8 a.m. Sunday morning log runs on a devilishly strenuous road, whose sole comforting aspect was its innocuous name, Magnolia. The more I read, the more I convinced myself that I needed to join the most dominant herd in the land, the Buffaloes. This competitive culture that held such powerful appeal for me could be attributed to one man alone, Coach Mark Wetmore, a guru, a mystic, a genius. I knew little about him other than the fact that he lived in the mountains, had a ponytail, and ran every day. He had logged at least 2 miles every day for nearly 30 years. He had coached runners, including club and high school teams, for almost as long. From 1988 to 1991, he had been the head distance coach at Seton Hall. Then he had picked up and moved to Boulder, joining the Colorado cross-country team in 1992 as a volunteer assistant. 3 years later, he was put in charge. In the next 8 years, using Magnolia Road as his cornerstone, he would coach 2 national championship teams, 12 NCAA individual champions, and dozens of All-Americans. Coach Wetmore's results spoke for themselves. What intrigued me most was how every year he granted a few blue-collar workhorses the privilege to walk on. A handful of walk-ons, athletes now on scholarship, had qualified for the national championship team and earned All-American accolades. The dim possibility of achieving similar success acted like a powerful magnet for me. Wetmore's words made me nearly salivate with enthusiasm. In Running with the Buffaloes, he had told his team, "Look, this is what I am. I don't play golf. I don't have any hobbies. I don't have a wife. The bottom line is, I'm here to make you guys run fast. When I go to sleep at night, my mind's churning, thinking of ways to make you guys run fast." And that was Mark Wetmore, and he is a completely different person from Coach Brown, and not that one is good, not that one is bad, but they are 2 unique men. And as a young high school runner, I was very much drawn to Coach Wetmore, his attitude, and what he preached out in Colorado, and I thought Coach Brown was just a little bit too small time for me, and he wasn't quite as driven as I thought he should have been. And like you said, the great thing is that when he told people about my training plan, you know, he would say, "I have Matt, that's perfect. 4-year plan to state champion success." Like I said here, I said, the only problem is that Matt has put himself on the 1-year plan, and our heads butted. I think this really comes to a head. My senior year cross country, we had a district meet, and I really wanted to win, and we finished 2nd at the district meet, and I was very disappointed. So our kind of collision, our paths collided on this day at the Tipton cross country course. It was a late fall, and It's one of those things where, you know, as an 18-year-old guy at the time, it seemed like the right idea. However, looking back on it now, it's what was I thinking? Okay, so I'm going to read you that passage.